It's about time you got your head out of those books and paid attention to more important things. Like me. The whole town's talking about it. It's not right for a woman to read. Soon she starts getting ideas, thinking.
Gaston, you are positively primeval.
Why, thank you, Belle.
We're all over you.
Ew! Get off of me! Ugh, as if!
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dom del Cielo. More specifically, it's Ranchera Dom here to do the intro. If you're new here, welcome to Make Mythology Monday, where I talk about one of your favorite stories while I do my makeup. Today, special day, I let you guys choose the entrances for August and September, and you guys chose the lovely Belle from Beauty and the Beast. So, as your reward, here is the story of Beauty and the Beast and its origins, and also it's like a French makeup tutorial too. So, it's pretty simplistic. So, if you follow along, progress down below. And, yeah, if you love makeup, if you love commentary, if you love singing black women, make sure to follow this channel. Make sure to give this video a like, share with your friends, and comment down below what you found surprising. Just comment down below anything. Ask me anything. I'm open, for the most part, kind of. Don't ask me anything, like, nasty. Like have some, not just say sophistication, maybe, some decorum. Have some decorum in the comments. But anyways, without further ado, here is Beauty and the Beast. Enjoy! Like we do with all the Disney ones, I'm going to do like a quick summary of the Disney story to jog our memories. I'm going to be basing it off of the one I know from my childhood, more so, which is the movie that came out in 1991, animated version. So when we see the opening of the film, it's like a cathedral. And you know how cathedrals have like those glass art painting things? So we see one of a story of a prince who lives in a faraway castle, and a lowly beggar comes to his castle to, seek refuge from a storm. And in exchange, she offers him a rose. I mean, it's like he's a huge castle, he has room. But he's like, no, you're hideous, get away from here. And then she, asks again. She's like, man, please, I literally have nowhere else to stay. It's cold and wet outside. And he's like, not my business, not my problem. And then, suddenly, the beggar lady turns into a beautiful enchantress. He's like, oh, snap, okay, my bad. I didn't know. Gives me another chance, and he's like, no, you're hot, just cold inside. So, because of that, I'm going to put a spell on you and everyone in this castle. Okay, I'm going to give you this rose that I put a spell on, and you have until all the petals of this rose fall off to fall in love and have someone fall in love with you in return. If you complete this task, then you guys go back to normal. You have to be handsome prince again. But if not, everyone is condemned to being objects, and you're condemned to being a beast. Capiche? Capiche?
So, I mean, he kind of has no choice but to accept this, and so he does, and then we cut forward to several years later in a distant village from where the prince is.
So, yeah, we go to a faraway village where every day is like the one before. A little town full of little people waking up to say bonjour, bonjour. Belle, she is the daughter of an innovator named Maurice, who is Maurice is seen as, but they're both seen as strange people in their town, because her dad's always making brand new inventions, while also Belle is always reading and not looking for a husband. And they're like, why is this girl reading? She must be a witch. Burn her at the stake! And of course, as she's going through the town, she sees Gaston. And constantly, like, he always approaches her to, like, marry her. And she's like, no, I'm good. And he's like, but you're the most beautiful girl in the world, or in the village, and I am the most handsome guy. You want to be lucky to date me? And she's just like, yeah. Okay, buddy. Whatever you say. Whatever you say, Gaston. And Gaston is just, like, a complete douche nozzle. He's, like, honestly, Andrew Tate before Andrew Tate was Andrew Tate, but with hair. And completely white. Now, one day, traveling to some convention, Maurice gets lost in the forest. He seeks refuge in the seemingly empty castle. Like, it's just pretty dark in there. Pretty quiet. All the people in there are now, like, various objects. So I think he stays the night again. Okay, just gonna chill in here. And, you know, get some shut-eye. Why not? Why not, you know? I've been working hard, man. Little does he know that the beast is still there. And then the beast imprisons him for trespassing. He's like, you're gonna stay here all the days of your life. And, you know, we're just all scared at this point because it's like the beast just showed up and he is scary looking. Basically, the horse that Maurice rode into town is spooked, like the rest of us, and just runs back to the village where they came from. And then so, once, like, Belle's wondering, like, where's her dad at? And then once his horse comes back, but there's no him on the horse, Belle's like, okay, like, what's going on? Horse, take me back to where my father is, like, let's find Dad. And then once they get to the castle and meet the beast, Belle agrees to take her father's place as prisoner in the beast's castle. And she is clearly aware that she will never be able to see her friends or family ever again. But, you know, she's a real one, so she just gives it up for her dad. That's the real filial piety right there, man. Of course, Dad's like, no, you can't. But, of course, she hard-headed. She gonna do what she wants to do, so. But while Belle's there, I mean, she, you know, it starts off kind of rocky. But she does make friends with the servants who, you know, explain to her, like, hey, like, we're, like, cookware because homeboy here pissed off an enchantress and got under a spell, and now we're, like, all inanimate objects. The other ones else in the castle is nice, but the beast is still cold to her, so she tries to escape. But on the way out, she's attacked by wolves, and she kind of is, like, cornered, and we think, like, oh shit, she's about to die. But then the beast comes out of nowhere and saves her from the wolves. Because, like, what exactly is the beast? You know, like, what animal kingdom is he from? Is he, like, a wolf? Is he, like, you know, basically, she goes up to the castle with him and helps nurse him back to health. And, you know, after they argue a little bit, because they're like, he's like, why were you out there? It's like, I would be out there if you weren't treating me so badly. And, you know, they start to get to know each other, and they're like, I guess you don't suck so bad. I guess neither do you either. Which is like, you know, it's just like definitely what we want to see. It's what we came for, right? It's for things to start to blossom. Now there's something there that wasn't there before. So they're getting to know each other, having a merry old time back in the town. Maurice is telling the people, like, hey, there's a beast, he has Belle captive, like, help me. But then Gaston, of course, being the narcissist douche nozzle that he is like, how can I make this situation work for me? That's honestly all he really cared about was how to make that work for him. So he's like, yo, you have to, I'm gonna say that Belle's dad is a town loony, so that they'll throw him in the brig, and then she'll have no choice but to marry me because she'll have no one else. Which is the strangest thing and most abusive thing I've ever heard in my life. And basically kind of just trying to use her, like, locking him up, having him locked up in the same asylum, so he can, you know, he can use her father as leverage to get Belle to marry him. Because even though Belle has made it abundantly clear she does not want to marry Gaston. You know, he's a prick who can't take no for an answer. Very simple as that. Once they find out, you know, Gaston tells the townspeople that Belle is being held captive by a beast, so now, to stroke his ego, he has to be the hero to go find her. Because, I mean, at least he's finally being useful, right? Like, at least he's finally doing something useful. Like, finally. Him and the townspeople get their weapons and everything, and they go to head over to the beast castle, and it's about to go down. Full out war. Of course, naturally, the beast is upset that Belle had left, as she had seen that her dad was in danger because Gaston was locking him up. So, like, the beast does not want to exist anymore. Our buddy's down bad over Belle, okay? He's not trying to get involved with some war things. He's like, you know what you want to do? I'm staying out of it. So the other servants that are dishware and such and other objects fight the people, defeat the townspeople, because, I mean, they do have a home plate advantage. But once they're done, you know, this buttwad named Gaston, he's all like, yeah, so I'm still like gonna kill the beast. I'm not leaving here without his head to put on my wall. I remember there's some version of that he said, quite literally. Once Gaston finds the beast, you know, he's ready to just kill him. The beast isn't really fighting back because he's like, I don't have anything to live for. Belle's not coming back. But then he sees Belle and he's like, okay, yeah, now we gotta fight because now I gotta live because, like, she's back. Like, I'm getting my woman back. Which, you know, I love that for them so much. But we know that basically Gaston's a douche, not a wants to ruin everything for everyone else. Because no one gave him love in his childhood. And he decided to make that everyone else's problem, okay? So he decided to make it everybody else's problem. So, Beast gets upper hand in the fight with Gaston, but decides to let him live because, you know what? He actually has a heart of gold, and he's just like, you know what? Like, death for what? You know, killing you for what? Just get out my castle, mind your business, and, you know, we'll just do what we do. You know, like, I just never want to see you again, basically. But then after sparing his life, Gaston stabs the beast, but luckily the beast knocks him off the castle, so he falls to his death. Yay! But then the beast is dying because, like, he just got stabbed. Like, I think in his heart, too. Not his heart. And so Belle's like, no, you can't die. Like, I came back for you. And he's all like, why would you do that? And she's like, I love you. And then, like, the curse is broken. And now everyone's human again. And I all live happily ever after. I'm pretty sure there's, like, a wedding at some point, too. Love that for them. And that is the Disney version of Beauty and the Beast. Now, the lovely story of La Belle et la Bête comes to us from the country of France, that I have a lot of mixed feelings about. It's like plus side, positives, they're part of the romance family, and it's easy for me to understand people when they speak French to me or when I read French stuff. Downside, they treat the people who come there as immigrants, especially from Street, black, brown, Muslim people, very badly when they come there. So it's a little love-hate for me with France. I'm trying to open my mind and be less terrible, so hopefully, you know, this story does give me a little bit more shame for the country, because it is just such a cool thing. France's original name was Francia, land of the Franks, and Latin became its own, like, little settlement in the 5th century. After the fall of the Western Roman Empire, and then became its own country in the 9th century. And also became one of the biggest colonial powers. Currently, there are 29 French-speaking countries in this world, and then also 11 territories that speak French national language. So, you know, they've been busy. Giving us all hell. Any culture they have their defining characteristics: sophistication, fine cuisine,
Bate, you got to teacher.
While French toast and French fries are actually from Belgium, France has contributed other things to the world, such as champagne, Chardonnay, the metric system, the Braille system, IPA. Actually, that's for linguists, you know what IPA is. Lastly, especially something that we love here in the US, mayonnaise. They love mayonnaise over there. Well, over here we love mayonnaise. Also, I think it's funny too that in France, they call French kissing English kissing. It's one of my favorite things I just love learning about life. Sue me. Now, the original story of La Belle et la Bête was written by Gabrielle Suzanne Villeneuve in 1740. Like, I tried to do research kind of about what was going on in France during this time. And of course, you know, there's always a lot of talk of, there's always like, you know, colonization was happening. Colonization was happening. But also, during this time, it was said that there was like a lot of inequality between classes, that you had a privileged class of like the first, second estate, and the unprivileged class, non-privileged class of third estate, kind of rivaling each other, and that being a very defining part of French history, and part of when she writes this novel. So in the original La Belle et la Bête, Beauty and the Beast, we do have a protagonist who actually his name still is Belle. Her father is a merchant / innovator, has a successful business, and actually she is the youngest of 12 children. Her father is a widower who has 6 sons and 6 daughters. Like, why? Is all I gotta say about that one. Like, why? It's well read and very sweet and simple and very cute, which naturally annoyed her older sisters, who were spoiled and arrogant and selfish. You know, they are spoiled because actually the merchant has them living in a mansion. Once business goes south, or starts being less lucrative, he has to move him and his 12 children to like a little hut, a little cot in the woods. And of course, the other kids are spoiled or pissed, but Belle's just like, you know, I've got my books, I'm good. And of course, to them, that's annoying. Like, who do you think you are? Over here being all grateful to be alive. The disrespect. We're not about that they had to work. Before they hadn't been working, before they just kind of do whatever they wanted to do, but now they gotta work too, and they're like, okay, nope, I don't like this. Now, years later, the merchant is called to go on a trip to handle a problem that was the trade ships, and there's something like they didn't arrive properly or something on those lines. So he has to be gone for a little while. All the other children ask for like extravagant gifts, you know, while he's away, to get them something really cool. But Belle only asked him, you know, to be safe and to bring her back a rose. A pretty little rose for a pretty little girl, and he's like, got it. So he makes the trip to his destination pretty safely, but as he's coming back during this storm, as he returns, there's a big storm that he gets caught in, and so naturally, he ends up running into the Beast Castle. And actually, they do agree. The Beast agrees to let him take refuge for the night in his castle. But then the next morning, when he wakes up, the merchant, so this person didn't really give him a name, the merchant sees a rose in the garden and decides, you know, to grab it for Belle. She remembered, oh yeah, she said she wanted a rose. Baby girl said she wanted a rose, so I'm gonna get her a rose. He's still like, okay, like, you're stealing from me, like, that's not cool, dude, I'm throwing you in the brig, going in prison. Actually, the Beast tries to kill him when he accuses him of stealing the rose. Which I'm like, that's intense. I don't know, like, you really went to 0-100 real quick, man, like. They basically come to the agreement that, you know, he can go back and give Belle this rose, but he has to have one of his daughters come back in his place. Like, they have to agree to it, and they have to know that, like, like, he's like, don't sugarcoat for them, they're gonna be like here prisoner. So, you know, he does, you know, bring back the rose and other gifts for the kids. The older daughters argue because they're like, I don't want to go live my life in a castle with the beast I don't really know. And like, yeah, there's like a lot not right with this. Which I kind of can't blame them there either, because be like, okay, see you, Dad. Have fun.
So the brothers are all like, hey, let's go kill the beast, but their dad's like, no. And the older sister somehow gaslight the fuck out of Belle and have her go to be with the beast because she has the rose that their dad got from their garden. So she agrees. When she arrives, she has like a warm welcome from the beast and the people. And every night he talks to her and gives her lavish food and clothing. But every night he asks Belle to marry him, but she says no. After each refusal, she kind of has dreams of this handsome prince that she begins to fall in love with in her dreams, but she doesn't make the connection between the beast and the prince, and she thinks that the beast has the prince that she dreams about hidden somewhere else. And it's going pretty well, actually. It's seeming pretty sweet. After several months, Beauty does become homesick, and the beast is eventually allowed to, like, her to go see her family for 2 months. With this enchanted ring. And with 3 turns of the enchanted ring, that she is able to turn to her family's house in an instant. Brothers are happy to see her. The sisters are jealous because she's been living so lavish with the beast. And they're like, oh, we missed you so much. Can you stay with us longer? And she decides to stay with them more than 2 months. But she's able to see with her magic mirror that the beast is kind of starting to die and wither away without her. Belle sees the beast near death. She's distraught and realizes that she loves him. So she comes back to resuscitate him, and she finds, after she agrees to marry him, she finds out when she wakes up that he actually is the unknown prince from her dreams. So at this point, they plan a wedding, and they have a wedding. The prince's mother arrives, and she's upset that he's a new birth. But she learns that Beauty is her niece, and her actual father being the queen's brother from Fortune Island, and her mother being, so basically, like, she's marrying, I think, her cousin. But basically, then after that, he tells her her sad story. The beast's prince / father died when he was young, and the mother had to wage war to defend his kingdom. The queen left him in the care of an evil fairy who tried to seduce him when he became an adult. And when he refused, she transformed him into a beast. And only by finding true love, despite his ugliness, could the curse be broken. But now he and Beauty are married, and they live happily ever after. Yay! So this story are so fascinating. Now there is a system called the Aaron Thompson author system to categorize stories. Sleeping Beauty is considered a 410. Snow White is considered a 709. Then Beauty and the Beast is a 425C. It falls under Tales of Magic between 300 and 449 or 749, and then under 400 and 459 Supernatural Enchanted Life / wife / husband / other thing, and then 425 is the search for a lost husband, and C is short because it ends after the enchantment. So there are many versions of this story across the world, such as Zelda and the Monster in Italy, the Fairy Serpent in China, and the Enchanted Istrovich in Russia. There are many people that believe that all these stories are based on the story of Cupid and Psyche, which is first told by Lucius Appullus Maldivis, written around approximately 125 to 180 Common Era, and believed to be from ancient Rome. As it goes, Psyche was immortal, so beautiful that she made the goddess Venus / Aphrodite jealous, and she made her son Cupid fall in love with an unworthy man, but actually Cupid falls in love with Psyche himself. So he has her hidden away in this mountain and can see her at night, but forbids to actually see him like as person. But once one day she finds a lamp and is able to see him, he runs away and never definitely found. So Psyche tries to drown herself, but then Pan tells her to win back Cupid's love. And so Venus, Aphrodite, sets her on a task of increasingly difficult tasks to get to Cupid, but although she fails final task, the gods make her immortal and she's reunited with Cupid, and they live happily ever after and have a baby named Hedone, which I believe translates to pleasure. Because Psyche is soul, Cupid is like love, and then Venus, of course, is the goddess of love, Venus and Aphrodite. So it's a fun, fascinating one. They think that's kind of based off of that. Yeah, it's interesting. Because I'm like, how could you make love with someone and not see them? But, you know, this is ancient Greek and ancient Rome, so they always do some weird shit like that. So what can you say?
I feel like I kind of look like Belle. I don't know. I tried to get my hair to curl, so I could do like the half updo, but it would not curl. So I did this kind of fancy. It looks kind of like, I feel like it looks kind of like a cross between like Belle and like Marie Antoinette or somebody else from France. Like if they were black, like that's who I'd look like. But I feel like this is, yeah, very much French Rico style, very minimal, very natural looking. Tell me what you guys think below. Did I nail or did I do too much? I probably did a little too much with the rhinestones, but I mean, I felt like Moana had rhinestones, so I could put this rhinestones on this one. So I'll wrap this video up talking about the moral of Beauty and the Beast. I think probably the easiest one, obviously, I think from my childhood, I remember learning that you don't want to judge a book by its cover, and that inner beauty is more important than outer beauty, and like that's like people like kind of shine, like your beauty comes from like inside, and like someone with a good heart is more beautiful than someone who like looks good on the, like who has like a pretty beautiful body or a beautiful face. Grew up chunky and kind of awkward looking, so I had to have personality. So now that I'm an adult, I'm just perfect. So what else can I really say about myself? Sorry to you guys that aren't, but yeah, I think that you meet someone who keeps you laughing and engaged and happy, and is very kind to you and to themselves and to others. I think another big moral too is kind of like the importance of like sacrifice and compromise. I think compromise is probably important in any relationship, but I mean definitely for a romantic relationship. I think sacrifice, it can be kind of like a double-edged sword, because I mean it's like, yeah, like you want to have like the mindset to sacrifice for people that you love, but at the same time, like especially women, Marianismo, of like you can like, be super self-sacrificial, that you're not taking care of yourself, or that you're like always putting everyone's needs before yours, which is actually a form of emotional abuse or self-hatred. You know, biggest criticisms of the story is that it's a version of Stockholm Syndrome, and we're gonna explore. People argue that it isn't Stockholm Syndrome, but we're gonna check that out in 1 minute. Okay. Now we're talking about Stockholm Syndrome. Stockholm Syndrome is basically a psychological coping mechanism as a response to being held captive, where people form a connection with their captors and begin to sympathize with them. It's closely linked to and similar to trauma bonding, learned helplessness, or battered woman syndrome, or battered person syndrome. There's battered person syndrome. The condition gets its name from a 1973 bank robbery in Stockholm, Sweden, where during a 6-day standoff with police, many of the captive employees of the bank were sympathetic to the robbers, and some employees even refused to testify in court, as well as raise money for their defense, like for the robbers' defense. Which I'm like, oh, I mean, maybe it's my empath in me, but like I kind of get that. The main symptoms are 1, positive feelings toward captors/abusers. 2, sympathy towards their captors, behaviors and beliefs. And then 3, negative feelings toward police and or authority. And it's also a lot of common similar symptoms that you would find in PTSD as well. Now, it does not just apply to hostage situations, but also to human trafficking, child abuse, coach-athlete abuse, sexual, physical, and emotional abuse. So, Stockholm Syndrome is not like an official clinical diagnosis, or like not a disease in the DSM. Reasons that people think, the psychologists think why we do this or this happens, is that 1, bond increases your chance of survival, which kind of makes sense. It's like kind of like the phrase, like, you know, you catch more flies with honey then vinegar, like that, and then also, I mean, again, like, your body's built to survive, your brain's built to survive, so, like, your brain can adjust your feelings to help you feel compassion, gratitude, towards this person for letting you live. Like, in Cat Sisters, or, like, other situations where, like, they were merciful to you, even though technically it's still abusive. So it's, like, it's all very complex, which I think is interesting. It's, like, yeah, I mean, in my mind, it makes sense, like, you want to bond with someone who's holding you, who has power over you, so that way, like, if you bond with them, they're less likely to hurt you and or kill you. Like, less likely. I'm not saying, like, completely not likely, but I mean, for the most part, most psychologists would say this is Stockholm Syndrome, because they're saying that there's not abuse present, but I kind of disagree a little bit, because, like, I mean, at the beginning, the Disney versions, it's pretty slight, but him kind of restricting her to not, she can't go anywhere without him, and she can't go anywhere, she either eats with him or she starves. Like, that's kind of, like, that's, you guys, that's kind of abusive. I mean, he helps her as she's trying to escape. So, I don't know, the line's kind of blurry. So, I mean, the professionals say that, you know, don't try to trivialize the experience of Stockholm Syndrome. I'm not. I'm just saying, probably there's levels to this. Like, you know, when you want, like, a healthy relationship with, not with coercion, which means, like, fear manipulation. So, I mean, so she did not start out of, like, her straight, like, her, like, voluntarily for Belle. It's not a necessity to save her dad. So, I still think the Stockholm Syndrome, I feel like it stands. I still think it stands. I think the Beast, I don't know, possibly it's a combination of, like, codependency issues, because he's so, like, attached to Belle when he meets her. That's a whole other topic for another day, but I don't know. I feel like as they grow a bond, then again, when it comes from you can grow a bond with your captors. Like, people grew the bond with their freaking, who robbed their bank that they're held hostage for work for 6 days. Like, thought she was going home. Psych. I wonder how they had to stop. Like, they had to stand up for 6 days. Like, what do you do when it wants to go to the restroom? Like, do they captors go with you to the restroom? Like, so many questions. But I think it could be possible that it was, like, maybe, like, a minor, I would say, like, Dom's diagnosis, a minor case of Stockholm Syndrome with this one. A minor case of Stockholm Syndrome. A minor case, okay? Minor. Older situations, maybe more likely that it was a little bit more defined. I think some of the older versions, too, might have possibly been grooming. She can, like, in the older versions, that Belle is so much younger. But, yeah. Do you think Belle and the Beast had true love, and that the inner beauty just overcame it all? Or do you think they had some sort of Stockholm Syndrome, or some other psychological issues? Leave your thoughts down below in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Monday.